Hello, welcome to my channel, True Crimes with KT. If you like what you hear today, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I'm going to cover a case today that is kind of close to my heart for a couple of reasons. First of all, there's a connection with the Batman movies and the Joker, who was a favorite character of mine. And also the case involves schizophrenia or schizophrenia-like behavior, which is another personal favorite of mine. I've spent a lot of time studying this case and I got bogged down because there's a lot of details. I'm going to try to cover just the main aspects of the case and then maybe give a little bit of an opinion about it at the end. I would like to show some video of an interview that James Holmes had with a psychiatrist. I've watched hours of that, and it's fascinating to me. I mean, it kind of helped me go to sleep because some of it gets kind of boring, and the psychiatrist has a very calming voice. But I spent a lot of time studying this case and researching it, and I'll try to cover as much as I can, and I may have to make more than one video. And if I can, I will try to put a little bit of video of the interview with James in here. But this is the case of James Holmes, who was born in San Diego in 1987. He has no known criminal history prior to the arrest for this case. You can tell by some of these photos that things weren't quite right with James. The photo that you're looking at now is kind of scary. It's concerning. And the way he looked when he was arrested and how he presented himself in court was also troubling. So you know that there's something going on with him, but the correct diagnosis, you're just not quite for sure. But a little bit of information about him. He was attending the University of Colorado, and he was taking graduate courses in neuroscience. He had a bachelor's degree in that subject. He had recently had a breakup with his girlfriend. When he was 24 years old, on July 20th, 2012, in Aurora, Colorado, which is a suburb close to Denver, wearing a gas mask, full body armor, he entered a theater where the Batman movie, The Dark Knight Rises, was playing. He threw in some tear gas, and with a military-style AR-15 assault rifle, he started shooting into the audience. He had his hair, as you can see here in the photos, dyed a bright orange color, and which is kind of reminiscent of the Joker character. But he said, according to one interview that I read, that he dyed his hair that color so that he would be remembered. It is reported that James worked at one point with underprivileged kids in LA, and his parents said that he had a past history of mental problems, but I didn't dig too much into that, but that's something I would like to look at in the future, maybe when I make another video on this topic. But on July 16, 2015, a jury found him guilty of 24 counts of first-degree murder and 140 counts of attempted murder. He had killed 12 people and injured 70. So for some reason, in this resource, he was giving double sentences for that. He was also received 1 count of possession of an explosive device, which was the tear gas. Law enforcement arrived fairly quickly after he started shooting, and he was arrested at the theater, and he notified law enforcement that he had booby-trapped his apartment so that if anyone entered, they would be killed with explosive devices. Law enforcement went in and were able to eliminate the materials. And I have some photos in this video of some of the explosives that they found in his apartment. The psychiatrist that the judge appointed to evaluate James is William Reed, and he interviewed James for a total of 22 hours. And he testified that Holmes was mentally ill but legally sane, and diagnosed him with having schizotypal personality disorder. As I previously stated, his parents said that he had a past history of mental problems. And he was also seeing a psychiatrist on campus. And she knew he was mentally ill, and he had allegedly shared some homicidal thoughts with her, and also sent her threatening text messages. She notified campus police, which is the proper thing to do, and let them know that he was a public threat. However, this is the problem with that, is there was no commitment evaluation done. And when someone threatens to kill others and sends threatening messages, that's usually a step that needs to be taken, or file for order of protection, or do a commitment evaluation. And apparently the campus police did nothing about the information that his psychiatrist provided to them. They didn't contact the local police. They didn't investigate it any further, as far as I know. And that is a failure. That's someone falling through the cracks of the mental health system. And that happens far too often. And that's a personal cause of mine that I'm concerned with and that I talk about a lot. He had also sent her a journal. He had written a manifesto of sorts about what his beliefs were and why he should kill people. And it was very detailed, from what I understand, and somewhat complicated, because he talked about that journal with the psychiatrist that interviewed him. But apparently he had sent that to her with details about how he wanted to kill people, and the journal sat in her mailbox for days, and it wasn't discovered until after the killings. And I don't know if they didn't put the journal in her mailbox in a timely manner, because I know how when you're working in an office, you get the mail, and then if like later on in the day they put it in your mailbox and you don't check it maybe till the next day or whatever. But it was there for days. It was either waiting to be put in her box, or either she had it for days. So again, another major failure in the system there. And this leads me to another question that I have, and it's a matter of his diagnosis. Again, the psychiatrist appointed by the judge diagnosed James as having schizotypal personality disorder, which usually involves unusual beliefs. You could be a loner with a lack of close friends, have social anxiety, interpretation of harmless events as personal, peculiar ways of dressing, suspicious or paranoid thoughts, believe in superstitions, limited emotional responses, and having illusions or delusions. I personally thought that maybe James had schizophrenia, and his defense attorney thought so as well, and said that he was having a psychotic episode due to schizophrenia. At the time of his arrest, it was reported that he stared at a wall in police headquarters with just his eyebrows twitching. He claimed to be the Joker, and when they put bags on his hands to protect any kind of evidence, such as gunpowder residue, that he pretended that they were puppets, like hand puppets. 20 psychiatrists or doctors examined James after his arrest, and they all said that he had schizophrenia. The psychiatrist who was treating him before the shooting also said that she thought that he had schizophrenia. The jury found him guilty, and they could not come to a unanimous decision as to whether he should receive the death penalty, so the judge couldn't sentence him with that. Instead, the judge sentenced him with multiple life sentences with no parole, and Holmes' attorney said that they would not try to appeal that. The DA claimed that James never showed any remorse, but his mom said that he had expressed remorse, but that because of his mental disease and medications that he was on, he wasn't able to show those or to express those feelings properly. The criteria for diagnosing schizophrenia would be having 2 or more delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech, negative emotions, which is a decrease in emotional range, poverty of speech, loss of interest and drive and such. It seems as if the schizotypal personality disorder is a milder form of schizophrenia, or it just seems like a different, less serious diagnosis. Differentiation between the two would be in schizophrenia, you have hallucinations sometimes. And in schizotypal personality disorder, it often co-occurs with mood disorders, and schizophrenia rarely does. So I'm interested in his past history, if he expressed depression or any kind of manic symptoms. Was he depressed about the breakup that he had with his girlfriend? He had also dropped out of his classes. I don't know if they became too hard for him or if he was depressed about that. But in the photos here, you can see some of the bombs that he made, that he planted in his apartment. He was a very, very intelligent individual, obviously, but dangerous as well. The question arises if James would be better off in a mental facility for the rest of his life, or in prison, or maybe in prison for the criminally insane. James did state that if he was ever released, he would kill again. It just seems like his life was imitating the Batman villain, such as being in Arkham Asylum, which is the fictional prison in the DC Comics and Batman movies. I think the main question is, did he know what he was doing was wrong at the time that he did it? And the answer to that, in my opinion, is he did know. He did know. He even stated that he paused before he went into the theater because he thought the FBI was following him and were going to stop him. That's a major delusion right there. But he did know what he was about to do was wrong. And it seems like he did cry out for help by telling his psychiatrist his plans, by threatening her, and by sending her his manifesto.